Hi fam! So in week 25, baby is developing his hair color, getting a sense of balance, and opening his nostrils. So let's get into the symptoms for week 25. Week 25, I still had achy feet. Being on my feet for long periods of time really make them achy and painful, and so I'm having to sit down a lot more. Kind of like what I had to do in the first trimester, but instead of for nauseousness, it's now just for achy feet. They can't load. And then another thing that has started to happen is leg cramps and feet cramps. So I know I talked about this last week in the symptoms, but I don't know if it's like God's way of saying like, oh, you thought that was hard. Wait, let me show you. Let me put down my water. I'm gonna show you right now. Because this week was painful. They're always in the middle of the night around like 1 or 2 in the morning, and like I wake up with the most severe Charlie horse, and it's always like a really deep muscle, so I can't massage it out, and it lasts for 15 to 30 minutes, and so I'm dying. I'm like in bed saying like, oh, this is it, this is how I die. I'm never say goodbye, Jeffrey, like your wife is dying. I didn't die, so that was good. But sleep has been interrupted constantly because of these Charlie horses, and so I am still tired. And then another new symptom, Jeff was reading to the baby and I was kind of rubbing my belly, and I had my shirt up so I could like rub my skin, and I now have hair on my belly. It is the weirdest thing. It's not like long hair, it's just like a peach fuzz, but a rougher peach fuzz. Like I have peach fuzz on my face and can't really feel it. It felt more, I don't know. I just could feel hair on my belly now. So I'm getting a hairy belly. It's so great. So cravings this week, it's been pretty cold, and so I have really wanted coffee. I have wanted the comfort of warm coffee, and I'm not supposed to be having coffee right now, so that's difficult. I did actually accidentally have a Diet Coke that had caffeine in it, and I did not have palpitations, so I think maybe I am past the hurdle of caffeine giving me palpitations. So maybe in the next few weeks I'll get the courage to try coffee, but this week I just really wanted coffee, and there was just never a good time to have any. We had our doctor's appointment this afternoon, and I gained 3 pounds. So I'm at a 203 right now, which I didn't have as much mental issues as I did when I hit 200, but I definitely was like, oh my goodness, I am gaining so much weight. Like 203, oh Lord. There's that. I didn't do anything different. I still ate like I've been eating. I considered walking, but then I didn't. So, you know, it's just one of those things. But my weight has now increased. New things that I'm also doing this week include Jeff and I are reading a new book called The Happiest Baby on the Block, and it's just basically about how to a baby, how to help with colic, and what just trying to explain what the first few months with a newborn is kind of like. So we are reading that in preparation of having a newborn, which is the whole reason we're doing these vlogs. So that is what we are reading. And I am actually listening to a new podcast, the Pregnancy Perfect podcast. I was listening to, and I was able to get to like episode 21, but then I couldn't find any of the other episodes, and there's like at least 72 of them. And I just can't, I don't know where they're. It's been off the air for a little bit, so I don't really know if that has something to do with it. So I kind of switched over to this podcast called Preggy Pals, and it basically goes over different subjects on a pregnancy and discusses the different things, and most of the time they have experts on that subject in the discussion. So it's just been slightly eye-opening.
I'm sorry.
Are you sorry?
I was waiting for Puppy to wake up because his head was on my leg.
Oh, but
Finally did.
So I do like Preggy Pals. It basically is an expert and then some moms that have some experience in that issue or field, and they do a huge variety. So there was one on like how to save money while pregnant, there was one on doulas, there was also one on what to expect at a hospital birth. I think I've also listened to what to put into your hospital bag, what the second trimester feels like, how to bond with baby when baby's not really here, he's kind of in your belly, those kind of things. And it's just been really eye-opening and broadening my horizons. The only thing I hate about this podcast is there are a million commercials. Oh my gosh, there is at least 4 or 5 commercials and I cannot skip them, and they are the same commercial the whole time. So I'm listening to the same commercial 5 times while trying to just listen to this podcast, and you can't skip it. So that's the only thing I don't like about Preggy Pals, is that there's so many commercials, but the information is still good enough for me to bear it. So those are the 2 things that I am doing new this week. So let's get into the best moment of this week. And if you know anything about me, I love free stuff. If something is free, I will go out of my way to get that free stuff. So I am in the process of trying to get as much free stuff as I can. And this week, a few of the things that I signed up for to get free stuff came in the mail. So let me show you the first one. When you are pregnant, you can go through your insurance company and get a free breast pump. And since Jeff and I are planning to breastfeed our baby, a free breast pump is the best thing in the world, because now I don't have to shell out $300. Oops. I don't have to shell out $300 for a breast pump. It came with all the bells and whistles. It came with all the bells and whistles. It came with some bottles in it, the actual breast pump, and it was all free through your insurance. You can get all different kinds. I got the Spectra S2 just because it was a closed system, and your milk can't get into the motor or the tubing, and that is something I did not want to have to deal with. So that's why I got this, but you can also get the Medela. There's a bunch of other breast pumps that you can also get through insurance for free. So that was a really cool perk that I got this week. Then we went to our doctor's office, and I got a bunch of free samples from them at this visit. So even though we are going to try breastfeeding, they gave us samples of different formulas. And so if breastfeeding doesn't work, or if we want to supplement, I already have formula. They also gave us breast milk storage bottles so that you can connect it to your breast pump and then store them directly into bottles. They gave us a bunch of coupons and information, and they also gave us this bag cooler thing. So in this bag cooler, we got more formula, but this is already mixed, so that's pretty cool. They also gave us some bottles, some ice packs, and this is the inside of the bottle cooler that we will have now. That was completely free. I also signed up for the Amazon welcome box, and I'm waiting for that. That is kind of free. You have to jump through a few hoops and buy something off of your registry that is worth $10 before they'll give you the welcome box. That is free with your purchase of something for $10. But I already needed prenatal vitamins, so I'm getting the welcome box for free. And I also am planning on going to Target and doing a registry there to get some free stuff that way as well. So more free stuff later on, and probably will be the best moment of my week. Okay, so the worst moment of my week was the leg cramps, especially since they happen at night at like 1 or 2 in the morning while I'm sleeping, and it's just not, it's not a fun time. I think I would be better, it wouldn't be as bad if it was during the day, because I'm already awake. It's not waking me up from a dead sleep and being like, oh, why is my pain? Where is this pain coming from? But apparently I talked to my doctor, and she basically just said that like there's no rhyme or reason for why women who are pregnant get a lot of leg and feet cramps, and why they always happen at night. She said that you could try to counteract it with like a calcium, potassium, and magnesium mix, but that there hasn't been any real proof that that actually helps or fixes the problem in any way. So the pain is pretty horrible, and so I have been looking at different ways to remedy it. And Jeff actually had some of these, they're called, oh Lord, Noon, I think, hydration, and you just plop them into water. Basically, they have all the electrolytes. So it basically has potassium, some sodium, and some magnesium, and it just replenishes. I'm hoping it works. I don't know if it's a placebo effect or if it actually is working, but I haven't had as severe cramps while drinking this, and it's completely safe and natural and blah blah blah. There's like avocado oil and beet juice powder and stevia in it, so it's not harmful to baby at all. Okay, so let's get into measurement. Okay, so this is what I look like this week. I am kind of more roundish than I was last week. I do feel like I am a lot bigger than I was last week, but I always feel like I'm bigger, and then the measurements come out and not so much. All right, and then so this is what we look like without any clothes on the belly. It feels like it's protruding more. Okay, so last week I was at 42 inches, and this week I am at 43 and a half. That also might be because we're at the end of the day today and I have eaten quite a bit. So we're at 43 and a half that way, and we are at 16 and a half this way. Okay, so I grew an inch and a half around, so I'm at 43 and a half now, and lengthwise or vertical, I grew a half an inch. I went from 16 to 16 and a half this last week. So yay, finally, like, oh, I feel bigger. I am bigger. Okay, and so now for everyone's favorite part of these videos, apparently, what names are Jeff and I thinking about for our child? We've done this now, I think, 3 times, maybe 2. I'm thinking 3 times now, so if you want to look at those names, go ahead and look at those other videos. But for this week, we are starting off with Amadeus. Perfect name, right? So Jeff and I really like Amadeus. It is Latin and it means love God. And it is a famous composer, Mozart. And the kid already has a song about him, Rock Me Amadeus. Like, come on. And I think there's a movie too. I'm not really sure, I haven't seen it. But look how cool this kid's name already is. Amadeus, like there's so many things, like, oh, I'm a love god. Setting this kid up for success is what I think. Okay, so the next one is Aster, and it is English for star. I also saw that it was Greek for star, but it just basically means star. And apparently it can be Greek or English. And Jeff and I like that one. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's not as fun as Amadeus. Okay, and then the last one for this week is Griffin. Griffin is actually Welsh, and it means strong or fierce lord. So I actually like that a lot. Jeff also likes Griffin. He could be a part of Gryffindor, and you know, it would just be like, oh my god, my name already has it. I'm definitely team Gryffindor. Okay, so those are the names for this week. If you like any of these, or if you still like a name previously mentioned in one of the other videos, go ahead and leave a comment below. So let's get into week 26. So in week 26, baby is growing to 14 inches. I believe he was 13 inches last week. He is gaining and packing on the weight. He's gonna be about 2 to 2.5 pounds this week. And basically in week 26, his biggest job is just gaining fat. He for the next 14 weeks, that will be one of his biggest jobs, is to actually grow and gain as much fat as he can to regulate his body temperature once he's out of the womb. And his eyes are actually opening now for the first time. So they have been closed for most of this pregnancy, but now he's actually opening them, or they're unsealing so that he can start to open them, and he should be able to start seeing some forms of light within the womb, whatever that looks like, because there's a lot covering him in there, but he should be able to decipher some forms of light in there. So that's the end of week 25. If you would like to see what symptoms, cravings, and things that are going on in our lives in week 26, go ahead and subscribe, like this video, and we will see you next week. Bye, fam.